Here, am I not in focus? This tricky thing about these cameras. Some watches speak louder than others. We all know this very well. You'll be at the mall and you'll see Cartier and you'll walk in, you see the Santos skeleton, for example, and it just makes you want to try it, right? Like you can't resist that. But true icons whisper. They don't scream. They don't need to. They don't have to, right? And that's how I end up visiting Chopard today. There is a backstory to it. So I sit down with this collector who's now become a dear friend. He's not a big fan of cameras, and I respect that. I met a lot of people with insane collections that do not appreciate the camera lens. So I completely understand that. And he says, I want to show you some special watches, and pulls up a watch rolls. And as he's doing that, I thought to myself, what is it over the years I've been in the watch industry that I didn't see already? What is it that is going to blow my mind, right? And as he opened that roll, the minute I laid my eyes on the traditional perpetual calendar retrograde open face from Vacheron, I knew this guy is a very, very, very serious collector. No hype crap, no 10 Rolexes, 50 APs, none of that crap. I mean, I've seen this watch firsthand, actually before I hit the market at Watches and Wonders a couple of years ago when they released it. I wasn't surprised that this watch exists. I was just surprised to see it out there. Love Vacheron, and yeah, probably this traditional perpetual calendar retrograde date open face is worth a house down payment, put it that way. But again, I love Vacheron and they deserve every single penny of it. Then comes, of course, the overseas retrograde. And at this point, I have all the respect for this collector. He's a Vacheron guy through and through. That's what this watch tells you. To have one piece from Vacheron that I personally love and enjoy wearing their watches, but to see a couple of interesting pieces. So it wasn't just the overseas lineup, right? It's not the stuff that everyone wants to get.
Just need $2 million for Vacheron, that's it. And then I'm good.
And I told them,
It was this, it was the traditional, and it was a few other pieces as well that the camera didn't catch this time. And then he pulled what appeared to be a one-of-one Chopard LUC Mark IV. Sure, he didn't explicitly mention this, but I'm quite sure that this piece was made specifically for him. Now, if that's not a flex, I don't know what is at this point. Because when you look at the Chopard website, it's not even listed there. When you talk to Chopard about it, they'll tell you it's a very, very special piece. Yes, perhaps they made a number of them. This configuration, it was done once. This brown dial, this brown strap, etc. And it's in platinum, by the way, so you feel the heft of it. And even though it's a 43mm case size, the thin case makes it surprisingly reasonable on the wrist. That's, by the way, the psychology some brands use when designing larger cases. They make them thinner, so your eyes does not lock immediately into the case diameter, so it wears elegant. It'll feel balanced, right? Almost deceptive in scale, if you want to put it that way. So he had these 3 watches in one roll, and I thought, all right, this is it. That's the trio. This guy is clearly a Vacheron Chopard guy. He loves it, and I get it. And just right before leaving, he's like, hold on a second, I saved the best for last. And that's when he pulls out the Maison Soul itself, the LUC Quattro Mark V. Not just because the case was indeed this time smaller. This one is also, by the way, in platinum, but the dial and how everything was put together, I glanced at it and I said, this is interesting. Instantly, I knew this was different, even though it's just a progression of the Mark IV. But then I must admit, I wanted to criticize the location of the seconds above 6 o'clock, because in my mind, it reminded me of my blue enamel Moser. It reminded me of the 6119 Calatrava's from Patek Philippe. In fact, it reminded me of one of the Vacherons that I was contemplating to buy some time ago. It was the traditional in 38mm in platinum. This is discontinued, by the way, but I thought that's, Chopard copying this design language. Little did I know that, in fact, Chopard had been pioneering this for the past 26 years, so it's not foreign to them. The location of the second hand is something they've done in the past as well. If I want to define the LUC Mark V, I would say it's when power reserve meets poetry. 216 hours of autonomy hidden inside a dress watch. This is not a watch chasing trends or looking to build hype. It's a watch built for legacy. And that's the whole cool thing about this watch ecosystem, right? So you go to the brands and you see what's new, you see the novelties, you meet collectors, and they give you their perspective of these watches, which is always interesting. And then the stories and the learning. And to me, that is as gold as the watch itself, right? So, I think this Mark V doesn't need to shout. It simply exists for you. It exists for people like this collector who follow their liking, their heart, and not the hype. It's just a nice reminder. I could talk about the specs and all this stuff, but I'll just link the website. I just want to let you know how I felt looking at this watch. If you see it in person, I'm not saying buy it, I'm just saying go try it. If you can get a chance, will give you a reason to understand it more. Where's that I got them? Where did I get it from? I don't know. You'll find yourself holding it and kind of spending some time with it and try to understand, why is this so beautiful? Why don't I know about it? And why is it not spoken enough about? And if you're a LUC Mark V and Platinum owner, maybe you understand that outside of this collector. And if you're not, And now you know. So maybe you're inclined to go to Chopard and check it out and let me know what you think. I'd be interested to read your comment, of course. Always. And this is how this video came about. I'm voicing a deeper appreciation for Chopard. And I also want to share what I found for myself. Sometimes not all treasures live in the spotlight. You have to look for them. Some are hidden gems, and that's how I stumbled onto what I think is a watch that when the watchmaker from Chopard made this Alpine Eagle in specific, he made it with me in mind. This is not just any Alpine Eagle. The titanium version, the 41 Cadence 8HF. I'm an active guy. I move. I would like to wear a watch through all the activities I do in my day. So this watch really speaks to me in the sense that it's subtle, it's stealthy, it's in titanium. The dial is modern, it's textured, it's well executed. And man, I want this watch. I want to cut this video short right now and I want to go get this watch. That's what I really want. Unfortunately, I couldn't really capture any videos of the one that I had a very short experience with because it was a sold order. And while they gave me the permission to do that, I didn't want to do that. I don't want to touch another man's sold order because I'm just going to kill the story for him. So I would rather him watch this video and maybe contact me and tell me how he feels about his purchase, right? Maybe there is a second sort of doubt that kicks in once you leave Chopard Boutique, I don't know. But even from this short experience, I can tell you the finishing very high. The presence was undeniable. Because this Alpine Eagle Cadence 8HF is different. Twice the frequency of the normal Alpine Eagle, twice the precision, forged in titanium, feather light yet resilient because it's made out of titanium, man. So it's very light. I'm talking about even the components in the watch are made out of titanium. And there is a thing. I started to realize that Chopard has really two, I wouldn't say identities, but two worlds, right? The timeless, understated classics like what we've seen with the Mark IVs and the Mark Vs, and this ultra light, this technical sporty category that stands tall against the best. And I'm genuinely surprised why it's not getting enough coverage, right? That's not to say that Chopard is a bad brand. I'm just thinking that it's overshadowed by many other brands. And we in this watch ecosystem, you know, the YouTubers and the influencers, the watch brands themselves, you know, we're kind of like fixated around the 3-4 watches that everyone is repeating the story over and over again. And perhaps that's what overshadowed gems like this Alpine Eagle in titanium from Chopard, or the LUC Mark IV, or the LUC Mark V. So I'm going to be the guy that's going to fix this. I'm going to start talking more about this brand. So Chopard, if you're listening, holla at your boy. So this sit down with this collector was very interesting for me because it was full of learning. So that plus my research taught me one thing, that they build with principle, not hype, with legacy and not noise. And that's a philosophy that definitely resonates with me. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below about the titanium version if you got hands-on with it. Let me know if you had any experience with any of their LUC collection. And if you're a Chopard customer, post that purchase experience. What was the maintenance like? And do you still enjoy the watch? I would love to go through your comments. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.